small businesses like yours all across America that glue the whole communities together. And we want to thank you for that. I really mean it. Thank you. Look, and I want to thank my campaign manager you heard speak first. She is, it's a little bit in her blood. Cesar Chavez is her grandfather. And he's the guy that got me interested. He came to Delaware when I was running in I won't even tell you when, 1871. He came to Delaware in the 1970s to help deal with the farm workers. And Delaware has a gigantic industry in agriculture. That whole thing called the Delmarva Peninsula, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. It's a $4 billion industry, primarily in agriculture, but particularly in chickens. And he was organizing, and I got involved with him and trying to make some headway. And in Southern Delaware, they talk at you like this, you know what I mean? And it was one of the best things I ever did in my life, because I learned a whole heck of a lot that I didn't know. You know, one of the things is that someone who did so much to improve the lives of Latinos all across Arizona and all across the country, and it's in her blood. It's in her blood deeply. I'm sure it is a lot of you as well. I'm excited to be down the street from our new campaign headquarters. I don't think we could fit everybody in at this moment, but in the heart of the community. And we have 7 offices that are opening here and by the end of the month. Second thing, you know, last time you're the reason why, in large part, I beat Donald Trump. Yes. Let's beat him again. Well, you know, I need you. I need you badly. I need the help. Kamala and I desperately need your help. Because, look, there's only about 6 or 7 states that are going to determine the outcome of this election. There are toss-up states. This is one of them. And I made sure that, by the way, when I got elected, that I told you my campaign would look like America. My administration would look like America. We have, and I've followed through on that. For example, Secretary Becerra is lowering prescription drug costs. He's heading up one whole agency. Secretary Cardona is easing student debt, among other things. And Administrator Guzman is investing in small business. Look, I want to remind folks, because we turned out in 2020, we achieved the lowest unemployment rate for Latinos in a long, long time. We cut Hispanic child poverty to record lows. We lowered the health care costs. We made historic investments in Latino small businesses, and we addressed gun violence in the communities. And we're excited now that ASU is joining the ranks of other historic serving institutions, because they can get part of that $15 billion now. Look, one of the reasons why I've spent so much time and effort in dealing with Latino universities and black universities is they haven't had the endowments these other universities have. So the jobs of the future, the high-tech jobs, they don't have the laboratories. They don't have the ability to train. Every student is as competent as anybody going to Harvard or Yale or Stanford or anywhere else, but they don't have the means to train. And so that's where the money's going primarily. It's going not only to get them in school, but to be able to put together the laboratories to train them to be the engineers, the technicians, the people who are going to lead the technology of the future. And look, the fact is that I shouldn't probably get started on it, but because I promised I'd be brief, because I want to say hello to every one of you. But look, this election is not a referendum on me. It's an election between me and a guy named Trump, and this is a guy whose the way he talks about the Latino community is well. In 2016, he called Latinos criminal, drug dealers, and rapists when he came down that escalator. Now he says immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. What the hell is he talking about? No, I'm serious. Think about it. We are, in fact, the reason we're as good as we are is because we are the most diverse country in the world. Seriously, the most. And look, you know, That's not all. He wants to get rid of all the programs we put together, from health care to education to small business help. And Social Security he wants to cut. He said, no, he not want to cut. He just said, but there's a lot you can do to trim and cut. Well, let me tell you something. Folks, he only cares about the wealthy. I love this quote from him. At Mar-a-Lago, Trump told his friends, and I quote, "I know plenty of you, and you're rich as hell, and we're going to give you more tax cuts." That was recent, okay? Well, that's the last thing I'm going to do. I want to tell you. You may remember when we started off this campaign in 2020, there were 55 major corporations that made $40 billion and didn't pay a single penny in taxes. And I was able to get a 15% minimum tax on them and paid for every single thing we did and still cut the budget $1 trillion. And so, folks, look, let me I don't want to get going, give me the whole speech because I want to meet you. Let me just tell you one thing. The fact of the matter is, I come from a household that is like maybe a lot of yours. We weren't poor, but we were, I guess, technically, from a financial standpoint, lower middle class. When Cole died in Scranton, where I was born, we moved down to Claymont, Delaware, a little steel town. And we lived in what later became subsidized housing. It wasn't at the time, it was an apartment complex. And my dad kept trying to figure out how he can own a home. Because you own a home, you can build some equity in the home. And you build equity, you can then save and move on from there. And we lived in a 3-bedroom, split-level home in a development, they called it. 45 homes, built the same exact kind of homes. And there were 4 kids, and a grandpapa lived with us in that home. We never thought we were poor. We never thought we lived around, but we had to figure out how to get scholarships to go to school. We had to figure out how to pay to get. My dad busted his neck to make sure we had whatever we needed. It could have whatever we needed. But the end result of it was that we used to have a thing called trickle-down economics, where if the wealthy did very well, it trickled down, everybody did fine. Well, I observed nothing ever trickled down on my dad's kitchen table. And so when I got elected, I decided I was going to build a country from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down. That way, everybody does well. The wealthy still can do well. They don't pay their taxes very much, but if they do well, I'm serious. And the middle class does well, and the poor have a way up. And so that's when we're able to create all these jobs nationwide. That's why we're able to grow the economy as we have. And it's just starting to kick in. And folks, look, I'll end by saying this. The tax system now is not fair. Trump wants another $2 trillion tax cut. That's what he says he wants, the first thing he wants to do when he gets elected. Well, his administration caused the biggest deficit in American history in a 4-year period, the biggest in American history. And we've cut deficit by the time it's out, over $2 trillion. We've cut the deficit. But here's what he wants to do. He wants to make sure that the biggest corporations continue to benefit. Well, look, in the United States today, and I'll end with this, there are 1,000 billionaires. I'm a capitalist. If you can make $1 billion, wonderful. If you can make $1 million, wonderful. But I tell you what, you ought to pay your fair share. You know what the average, what the tax a billionaire pays, these 100 billionaires? 8.3% federal tax. Every one of you here would trade for that, wouldn't you? Well, let me tell you something. I'm going to make sure it gets raised to a minimum of 25%, which is still significantly lower than the top rate. But here's what that would do. If we raised that one thing, if we raised that 25% tax, it would raise $500 billion over 10 years. $500 billion. We'd be able to have child care again for everybody, $300 per kid. We'd be able to make sure that everybody has an access to an education. We'd be able to have early education for families that don't have the capacity. We'd be able to do so much more. We'd be able to cut the deficit as well. So, folks, I'm optimistic. America has the capacity to do almost anything. We just have to remember who the hell we are. We're the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity. We're the only nation in the world that's gone through, like as a researcher in history, the only nation in the world that has gone through every crisis we've ever gone through, we've come out stronger than we went in. Only case, only nation. Let's remember who we are. We're the United States of America. Nothing's beyond our capacity when we work together. And with you all, we're going to work together and change the world here. Not a joke. There's so much more to say, but I'm going to stop now. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Alexis.